Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy, Sports and Fitness Rants? I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Got another great video for you guys today. As usual, you guys know the deal on this channel. You know the deal. We must continue to set the record straight. Stop the lies. Stop the narratives. Stop them from rewriting the history, guys. Remember, it's very important. When I say stopping them from rewriting history, we're not just talking about some of these crazy quote-unquote fans, these fake fans. No, we're talking about who also? The ex-NBA players. That's right. We're also combating a lot of these ex-NBA players, guys. You know the deal, man. Because these guys are not consistent. These guys flip and flop all over the place. This is what we're going to talk about in this video, guys. The ex-NBA players that are never consistent. They never have their integrity, man. They won't keep their integrity. They've sold themselves. They're on the payroll, so to speak, right? And these guys are always flipping and flopping. This is why I told you, man, their opinions, they don't really matter because they've lost what? They've lost the weight. Their words don't mean anything anymore because their opinions are all over the place. These guys, they never are consistent. That's what we're going to talk about in this video, man. And I want to thank you guys, man, everyone across the world, everyone across the states, man. For real, everyone's been supporting my channel, guys. I am truly, truly humble, guys, by all the support, for real, man. It means a lot, guys. Everybody in the membership, shout out to you guys, man, for real. We must continue to do this, guys. We must continue to stand up, man. Even to the ex-NBA players, man. You guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So yes, guys, like I said, man, on this channel, I'm always telling you guys, we must continue to set the record straight, stop the lies, stop the narratives, and stop them from rewriting the history. And when I say them from rewriting history, like I said, it's not just the old, these are fake fans, you know, these quote-unquote fans who are not fans of basketball. They're just fans of their player. So they'll never hold these people to a standard, hold them accountable, right? Because they're not true basketball fans. They only care about their player. They don't care about anything else. They don't care about the history of the game. And we were talking about, we're also fighting against the ex-NBA players, right? The Gilbert Arenas of the world, the Kendrick Perkins, the J.J. Redicks, all of these guys, man, all of these ex-NBA players that have their opinions, man. Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce now, right? Because I just saw recently that Paul Pierce has said something that if LeBron James wins a title this season, then that makes him the greatest of all time. And see, and this is what I'm talking about, right? It was just Paul Pierce the other day that was saying X, Y, and Z about LeBron James, right? Saying that LeBron James not this or LeBron James wasn't that. And then now all of a sudden, right, he was saying LeBron James needs to take a back seat. LeBron James needs to let the rest of the team, you know, do this or do that. And now he's talking about if LeBron James wins this season, then LeBron James is the greatest of all time. You guys ever notice they just keep moving the goalposts for LeBron James, right? They just keep, oh, if this season they win a championship, that'll make him the, right? Like, that was like 10 seasons ago, man. I remember Nick Wright years ago talking about LeBron James past Michael Jordan. These guys are always making some excuse. Shannon Sharpe, oh, if he wins 3 championships in a row in LA, he'll be the GOAT, right? It's always some other narrative for LeBron James, guys. It's always another narrative. But when we're talking about these ex-NBA players, my problem with these guys has always been the same thing. These guys have sold their integrity by not giving you the historical context and the historical perspective when they evaluate these errors. So once again, I've told you, when you hear guys like Gilbert Arenas or J.J. Redick, these ex-NBA players that have these podcasts, that have these platforms, what have you noticed? That these guys are critical of the past errors. But when they speak or they try to break down the past errors, they're not saying anything. They're literally saying nothing. All it is negativity, right? So they'll say these guys weren't athletic or they weren't skilled. This is what they use. The term skilled. I've told you the word skilled means absolutely nothing because these guys had what was required, which was the fundamentals. They had the fundamentals of basketball. A lot of these guys, once again, the game was bounced. These guys had different kinds of games. Some of these guys specialized in certain aspects of the game. Whereas now everyone thinks that they can do everything whenever they want to. And that's why the game is what? A bunch of guys chucking up shots, even though they're all not shooters. Everyone thinks they're a three-point shooter, shooter now when they're not. Everyone thinks they're a dribbler when they're not, right? Whereas back in the day, guys did not dribble if they were not dribblers. That was not their job to dribble the ball, right? Same thing with guys shooting. They wouldn't got guys just chucking up three-pointers because they were open. No, because they were not the shooters like that. Where these guys today, if they're open, they're going to chuck that three, whether they're shooters or not. And all these guys are not shooters. They're not. That's the thing we're talking about here when they talk about skills. So when we talk about these ex-NBA players and all of these opinions, they're constantly flip-flopping. Oh, this guy's the greatest of all time. Then this guy's the greatest of all time. They can never make up their minds. right? Kevin Garnett's telling us 1 minute that LeBron James is doing things that we've never seen anybody do. Oh, man, we ain't never seen no one like LeBron. You guys remember I did that video, man. Kevin Garnett was going off, talking nonsense, sounding crazy. Oh, we ain't never seen no one do what LeBron James is doing. This dude, blah, blah, blah. And then a month later, a couple weeks later, he comes out and saying LeBron James is on the new juice. So wait a second, if LeBron James is doing things that we've never seen before and you're pumping him up for that and you're celebrating him and saying he's the greatest of all time, we ain't never seen no one do nothing like this, blah, 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 blah. But on the same hand, and you're going to say he's on the new juice, then you sound like an idiot. Once again, you're a fool, Kevin Garnett. If you're going to say on one hand he's never done or doing things we've never seen before and then accuse a man of being on the new juice, which one is it? Because apparently that's why he's doing things that we've never seen anybody else do before like this, Kevin Garnett. So once again, where's your integrity here? Are you lying or are you not? Once again, I tell you, these guys just talk to talk now, man. They just say what they want to say for the hot takes, for the views, for the money. Because on the next hand, they'll say he's the greatest of all time still. It don't add up, right? What a lot of these guys are saying doesn't add up. Gilbert Arenas, he's going to trash the 80s and the 90s. These guys want this. These guys were all coked out, right? This is what Gilbert Arenas pumps out. This is him breaking down the 80s, guys. They're all, the entire era are all cokeheads. They're all coked out. This is what guys like Gilbert Arenas want you to believe. And then you hear these idiot people on social media repeating this nonsense. Because you'll hear in the comment section, oh, the 80s is nothing but a bunch of cokeheads, man. So now Larry Bird was coked out. Magic Johnson was coked out. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. All of these guys, Moses Malone, Dr. J, Michael Jordan, everybody's on drugs now. Oh, and then he came out again and said what? Now they're all on steroids because they were playing 82 games. Which one is it, man? Which one is it, Gilbert Arenas? Are these guys on steroids or are they on cocaine? Or are they on both now? They're cocaine addicts and they're steroid abusers. You're blanketing an entire era of people. You're just slandering and making up things with no base to, no basis, no base. Because guys did drugs in the 80s. There were people doing drugs all across the world in the 80s. Celebrities in the 80s. Everyone was doing drugs in the 80s. So everyone in the NBA was doing drugs. Every single player was doing drugs. What are players doing today in the NBA? Are we just going to turn around and say now all the players in the NBA right now are taking steroids? They're all taking steroids. They definitely are because it's so easy to do it in this day and age and hide it. They're all doing it. Everyone's doing it. That's what I'm going to say, Gilbert Arenas. And yet and still, these guys still can't play 82 games because they're a bunch of soft fools just like you, man. And just like all these other idiots out here who think because they're playing the NBA and they're ex-ball players, then they got more cachet or they got more of a right to an opinion to say what they want to say over us, the true basketball fans who are out here keeping the integrity, keeping the consistency. You can check my videos from day one. The mission has been the same. It's been the same, guys, right? To put some respect on Michael Jordan in the 80s and the 90s. That's how the mission started. And the mission continued to evolve into what? Setting the record straight, stopping the lies and the narratives, and stopping these fools from rewriting history. Because when you have a lot of ex-NBA players, a Scottie Pippen, for example, who wants to try to rewrite the history and bend reality, this is what I'm talking about, where just because these guys play in the league doesn't mean they're going to give you the honest facts, the historical context and the perspective here. So once again, Scottie Pippen played in the league, and he's an all-time great player. But once again, Scottie Pippen's lying. He's a straight liar. He has lost his integrity, and he has lost the respect of a lot of the true basketball fans because Scottie Pippen is a liar, and we know he's lying. We were all there witness to it. The fans, we saw this stuff. But he's going to come out and say some nonsense about how the Bulls were and how Michael Jordan was and how he was in relation to Michael Jordan and all of these things, trying to really make it seem like it was 1A and 1B with him and Michael Jordan, or that he never got the just due or the credit from Michael Jordan. Meanwhile, I put all kinds of videotapes out here. You guys have seen that. Go look at the NBA highlights. How many times Mike literally, guys, after they beat the Detroit Pistons in 1991 in the Eastern Conference Finals, the first word out of Michael Jordan's mouth was Scottie Pippen. He said, I want to thank Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant. That was the first people he thanked. That was the first thing he said. After finally vanquishing the Detroit Pistons, Michael Jordan has given Scottie Pippen so much credit. It's nonsensical, the things that he says. And once again, this is why I tell you he lost the integrity and the honor, the respect of a lot of us. Still an all-time great player, no doubt about it. Once again, this is not personal. I'm talking about Scottie Pippen as it relates to what he's been doing in relation to Michael Jordan and the lies and the slander. Just because these guys play in the league, guys, they're not going to give you the facts. Once again, they're just trying to say what? things to make themselves look better. Scottie Pippen's trying to say what? To make himself look better because he felt he was slighted in the Last Dance documentary. Gilbert Arenas is going to tell you all these guys were on cocaine. All these guys were on steroids. He's literally claiming in order for these guys to play 82 games back in them days, they all had to be on steroids. They ought to be on steroids. Dominique Wilkins, Charles Barkley, everybody was doing this, man. Apparently, Gilbert Arenas knows. I told you, Gilbert Arenas has never given you guys historical perspective or context. He never does. He'll claim that these guys in this era are way more skilled, and he makes it seem as if guys in previous eras weren't doing these things beforehand. The pioneers, like I said, the guys who these guys are supposed to be trying to follow, these guys were doing none of this stuff. It's a joke. It's laughable because once again, I told you, Gilbert Arenas was not watching basketball back in them days. These guys expose themselves. It don't matter how far or how high of a level they played at. That does not mean that you understand the history of the game. Case in point, J.J. Redick, another fool who's very condescending and believes he's better than everyone. You ever listen to the way J.J. Redick speaks? It's so matter of fact with him. No matter what he has to say, no matter what his opinion is, it's always right. Listen to the way that he speaks. Listen to him and look at the faces that he makes when people are speaking. They're not as smart as J.J. Redick. But J.J. Redick, once again, had to be G-checked by Bob Cousy. I love to bring this up, guys, because once again, it speaks 100% to someone like a J.J. Redick and him not giving you the historical context and the historical perspective because he doesn't know the game like that historically. So Bob Cousy, who's never spoken out about anything. Once again, I told you, I thought Bob Cousy was dead, guys. This man's like 90-something years old. He had to come out against what J.J. Redick was saying because the man was saying such incredible nonsense that Bob Cousy was compelled to speak up for his era, to speak up for the guys that he played against. And it was laughable what J.J. Redick was saying because once again, I told you, J.J. Redick doesn't know a damn thing about the history of the NBA. He might know about the game of basketball, but he doesn't know about the history of the game, guys. It's two separate things. It's two different things. The fans, a lot of fans know about the history. So when they're giving you their opinions, they're basing off a historical context and a historical perspective that they have, that they've garnished through years of studying these things, researching, or watching this stuff. Growing up watching this stuff. Like I told you, I did. These guys did not. Or once again, I told you, they're not being honest. So they lost and sold their integrity. We're the true fans. We're keeping the integrity here. And once again, we're keeping these guys and holding them to that standard. Gilbert Arenas and a lot of these other ex-NBA players, they're flip-flopping all over the place. One time, this guy's a go. This one, Isaiah Thomas, another guy. I could pull up minutes-long video of Isaiah Thomas calling Michael Jordan the most incredible basketball player he's ever seen. He's never seen nothing like Michael Jordan. We couldn't stop him in Detroit. We were trying all kinds of things. He said these things. We've done all these things. We did this. Michael Jordan's that. Michael Jordan's this. I've never seen this. This guy's incredible. All these years later now, Michael Jordan hasn't played a lick of basketball, has done nothing on the basketball court. Isaiah Thomas is trashing Michael Jordan now. Oh, Michael Jordan crying the fouls. And that's the one thing you hear a lot of these clown fake fans, they love to mimic. That Michael Jordan was crying for fouls. Really, we're going to say Michael Jordan was crying for fouls. This is where we're going. These guys in this era of NBA aren't crying for foul calls on a nightly basis when they're not even getting touched. But we're going to say that Michael Jordan was crying for fouls. Only Michael Jordan. And we're talking about fouls? Or are we talking about Michael Jordan getting hurt out there and these guys trying to hurt Michael Jordan, physically saying, they've actually admitted this, they were trying to hurt Michael Jordan out there. Oh, Isaiah Thomas, all these guys, Dennis Rodman, Bill Laimbeer, they know the deal. But now Isaiah Thomas wants to tear down Michael Jordan. I beat Michael Jordan. He never beat us, and he never beat Larry Bird. What are you talking about, fool? What are you talking about? You're all over the place. He's the greatest of all time back in 1998. He's in 2000, and then all of a sudden in 2015, he's not. The Last Dance documentary comes out. All of a sudden, Isaiah Thomas has some more lies and narratives that he wants to feel. Once again, Isaiah Thomas is upset because he didn't get on the dream team, so he wants to what? Sell his integrity. Once again, if you feel slighted, that's fine. You can feel slighted. But that does not mean you sell your integrity to try to come up with narratives and lies and then once again be jealous and envious of another man. Once again, I told you guys, Isaiah Thomas looks real bad and petty right now. No one should ever be petty. Petty? Like, come on. And that's what this is. Because once again, Michael Jordan's always taking the high road as it pertains to this. And Isaiah Thomas continues to slander this man. So once again, Isaiah Thomas' word means nothing. He's the boy who cried wolf, essentially. No one's listening to this man. No one's listening to him. Who are you crying to? Just stop. You look pathetic. But he's an ex-NBA player. He's an all-time great. And he'll always be an all-time great. This has nothing to do about his status in the pantheon of all-time greats. This once again speaks to what? The opinions of these ex-NBA players and why you cannot value what these guys, a lot of these guys say. Some of these guys, ex-NBA players, they maintain their integrity, their class, the honor. They do. But some of these fools, the guys who love to talk a lot on the microphone, they ain't saying nothing, man. They're saying absolutely nothing, and they keep continuing to try to talk down on us, the true fans, and push us out like we don't deserve to be here or we don't have a voice. Remember, we make the NBA. The fans do. The players make the game. We make the NBA. There's no money for these fools. There's no NBA for these clowns if it wasn't for the fans. The past eras understood that. This era, these guys now, the current these guys are talking about, they keep trying to pump these guys up by tearing down the past. These guys don't respect that. They don't get that. They think they're bigger than the game. They think they're bigger than the fans. They're bigger than everybody. They're better than everyone. Bunch of arrogant clowns out here. Soft, sensitive fools. Can't take any criticism, any backlash, none of that. Nope. Crying out here on their podcast, making up stuff about past eras. All over the place, these guys. They never know what they're saying. You guys know the deal on this channel. We must continue to stand up against these fools who want to continue to tear down the past eras with the lies and the narratives because they don't know the history of the game. The players today are so skilled. The players would be nothing without the previous eras. Remember, they're standing on the shoulders of the giants that came before them. The game is nowhere right now. There would be no NBA if it wasn't for these past eras. There would be no NBA without the George Mikens and the Bob Pettits, the Bill Russells and the Will Chamberlains. There would be no NBA without Kareem and Jerry West, Oscar Robertson and Elgin Baylor, Pistol Pete Maravich, right? Dr. J and George Gervin and Moses Malone, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Hakeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, right? There's no NBA without these guys, right? The Alonzo Mournings, the Dikembe Mutombos, the Grant Hills, the Penny Hardaways, the Shaquille O'Neals, right? The Jason Kidds, the Kobe Bryants, the Tim Duncans, the Vince Carters, the Tracy McGrady's. There's no NBA without these guys. The Dirk Nowitzki's, the Steve Nash's, the Tim Duncans, right? There's no NBA without all those guys, all the other guys, the guys that I didn't even mention. But all of a sudden now, it's just this era is great. Everything else is crap. Everyone couldn't dribble with a left hand. They couldn't shoot. They couldn't read down. They couldn't do anything. They weren't athletes. They couldn't run. They couldn't jump. It's a joke, guys. Don't listen to these guys just because they play in the NBA. They're not giving you the historical perspective, the historical context, because they're not respecting the past. They talk for views, for money. That's all it's about for these guys, man. Or they don't know. They're ignorant. Bunch of fools. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.